Welcome to Southern Sudan Diversity. My name is Tito.
Today we thought to back down on his hunting rifle ban. Instead, he just gave a rambly endorsement of the same policy and announced that his rural MPs from across the country, including rural Newfoundland, support the ban on hunting rifles. And the Prime Minister has tried to deny that he's banning those rifles, even though First Nations have said so, his experts have said so, his own caucus members have said so. So will he stand in the House today and really look us in the eye and tell us that there are no hunting rifles on his banned list?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we made a commitment a number of years ago to Canadians to ban assault-style weapons from this country. There's no place for guns designed to kill the largest number of people as quickly as possible in this country. And that is why we're moving forward with an amendment that ensures that assault-style weapons are banned not just in the past, not just in the present, but into the future. We're going to carefully work with hunters and farmers and caucus members and all parliamentarians from rural areas to ensure that we get that list right. But all Canadians want to see less gun violence in this country. That's what we're going to deliver.
Leader of the Opposition.
Only, Mr. Speaker, that's not what he's doing. He's banning firearms that in many cases are not even semi-automatic. These are firearms that have to be rechambered every single time. They are deliberately created for hunting and sustenance. The Assembly of First Nations has unanimously spoken against this ban on hunting rifles, as have numerous experts and now members of his own caucus. They all agree that his ban does not target weapons that are designed to kill people. It targets weapons that are for the legitimate Canadian tradition of hunting. So will he announce he's backing down from attacking our hunters today?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've heard clear concerns from First Nations, Métis and Inuit partners. Our intent with this legislation is to target guns designed for the battlefield, not ones commonly used for hunting. As I've mentioned, the Minister of Public Safety is taking the time to get this right, and that means consulting with partners to make sure we're not capturing weapons we shouldn't be. Now, part of that process is showing up to meet with Indigenous leaders, something the Leader of the official opposition failed to do just last week when he had an opportunity to sit down with AFN chiefs.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
I have been meeting with First Nations leaders from across the country, and they have been unanimous in their desire to protect their millennia-old tradition of hunting. That requires, in the modern sense, the use of hunting rifles. The Prime Minister's government has tabled 300 pages of banned hunting rifles before a Canadian parliamentary committee. He is wasting hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions, targeting the legitimate tools, hunting tools of rural people and First Nations. Why doesn't he put that money into securing our borders and fighting crime instead?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
The government that the Leader of the Opposition was part of before we took office in 2015 cut close to $1 billion from our borders and police services across the country. We, on the contrary, have been investing to restore that funding, even as we move forward close to $1 billion on keeping our communities safer. We also have invested massively in our border protection to ensure, for example, that last year we were able to collect double the amount of illegal firearms trying to cross our borders as the year before. We will continue to protect our borders. We will continue to protect Canadians. We will continue to move on gun control.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
There's no question that his policies are more expensive than our policies, but they have delivered poorer results. Today, violent crime is 32% higher than when he took office. That includes a massive increase in gang violence. The head of the Toronto Police Force says 82% of the firearms that are used in crime in Canada's biggest city come smuggled in from the United States of America. They are not brought here by hunters from Cape Breton or rural Alberta. So once and for all, will the Prime Minister stop wasting money on hunters and go after the real criminals instead?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the last Conservative government, of which their leader was a key part, slashed nearly $1 billion from our police and our borders. We're building back that capacity. We've invested nearly $1 billion to end gun violence and keep guns out of the hands of criminals since 2018 alone, including another $137 million for the CBSA in the fall economic statement to fight gun smuggling and trafficking, and it's working, Mr. Speaker. We doubled the number of guns interdicted at the border last year as compared to the year before.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Again, they're going after the innocent people rather than the real problem. Moving on to the heroes that protect our country and go to Veterans Affairs to get the services to which they are entitled. This government is now racking up an embarrassing and shameful record of having recommended medical assistance in dying. At least a half a dozen veterans now report that they have been advised that medical assistance in dying might be the best solution for them. Can the Prime Minister, having had time now, tell us exactly how many veterans have been recommended that their lives come to an end?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
This is absolutely unacceptable, and Veterans Affairs Canada is taking serious measures to ensure not only that this never happens again, but that any Veterans Affairs officers who have been making those recommendations irresponsibly and on their own no longer are in a position to make that. But I will highlight, Mr. Speaker, that we've invested over $10 billion in support for our veterans after 10 years of the previous Conservative government nickel and diming them and using them for photo ops. We will support our veterans as we've continued to do and respect the work that they've done.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
This is from the Prime Minister, who said that veterans are asking for more than he can give. This is from the Prime Minister. Is this a first Prime Minister who's ever presided over a Veterans Affairs Department that recommends that the heroes who served our country should get medical assistance in dying instead of being given a good life, the one that they have earned? One former soldier, current veteran, actually said the policy is triple D: delay, deny, and dead veterans. Mr. Speaker, the question is very specific. How many veterans have been given the recommendation that they should go to medical assistance in dying? The number, please.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Number one would be too many, and that is why we condemn in the strongest terms anyone who has recommended that to our veterans. Our veterans lived a life of service and deserve the utmost quality of care from our governments. That is why we invested $10 billion after the previous government chose to shutter Veterans Affairs offices across the country and nickel and dime them every chance that they could get. We respect our veterans, which is why we're taking so seriously the reports that this unacceptable behavior happened within Veterans Affairs. Our veterans deserve the very best, and that's what we'll continue to give them.
Thanks for watching. Please feel free to suggest any topics to be covered by South Sudan Diversity, and remember to subscribe if you like what you see.